Welcome to this week's Forex Forecast. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below what pairs you're watching this week, and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, starting things off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 3,200 long positions, and they also added 5,400 short positions. If you look at this daily chart here, we have a very strong uptrend here. The US dollar is showing no sign of slowing down at all. If we come to a weekly chart here, we actually broke this weekly supply zone on the US dollar index that I've been talking about the last couple forecasts, leaving us with this weekly area of demand. So it is possible, since price is so overextended, that we do get the US dollar rolling over and pulling back into this weekly area of demand where it will be a great dip buying opportunity on the US dollar. So no sign of showing down yet, just possibly going to continue buying the dollar. And if we actually see the lower time frame start to turn around, which will start off on on the one hour chart, but if we look at the 4-hour chart here and we see this trend line break, we're probably just going to be headed to that weekly area of demand down here, and where we can look for that dip buying opportunity in US dollar pairs. On to Euro USD. The past week, the banks added 10,000 long positions and they got rid of 959 short positions. If you do want to get in long, I would target right before this daily area of supply. To the short side, I would target about 1.07, or I would look to be taking profits somewhere around where we are at right now. For one setup on Euro USD, if we pull back to this daily area of supply, although we will be contacting this downward trend line, this daily area of supply is a decent area to look for short positions in. Other than that, let's hop down to a lower time frame, and I'm not seeing too much as far as selling opportunities. There is a little 1-hour zone right here, but as you can see by the look of the zone, it is not a high quality area of supply. So if you do want to get involved in this area, I highly recommend looking for 5-minute or 15-minute confirmation coming off of this 1-hour area of supply. And if you don't know what confirmation is, check out my tips playlist. There is a confirmation video in there that breaks down exactly what I will be looking for if price does come to this area of supply. So that's pretty much all I see here on the euro. I do think we will continue to fall. And if we break this low down here with the zone right here, we could possibly look to get in short at that zone. But that zone will be available for Patreon and YouTube members. But if you see a zone there after we break that low, mark it out on your chart, and it should be a decent zone for a trade or to look for confirmation inside of that. Right, looking at gold. In last week's forecast, I talked about how we had a decent 4-hour area of demand right here that we could be looking for a trade inside of for a day trade, but we never got that pullback, but we actually got a new zone formed right here. And if you look at the reaction off of this zone, it was absolutely perfect, almost no drawdown except for, well, there was drawdown, but price immediately shot out of that zone. So if you got involved in a trade there, very nice. And that is for the YouTube and Patreon members. And if you want to get my zones, like a zone like this, throughout the week, because this zone will most likely be marked out live on the charts, check out the YouTube or Patreon membership. Links are in the description. It is only $5 CAD per month. It's really easy to sign up, and it can certainly help you with your trading. And it could help where if I say there's a zone here in the forecast, well, you won't hear from me for the rest of the week if you're not a member. So that's why it's beneficial to sign up, where you will get zones like this that you can be taking day trades off of all day. So looking at gold, COT reports, the institutions added 13,500 long positions, and they also added 4,800 short positions. Looking at a daily chart here, I've been talking about this daily area of supply since mid-March now, and now we are finally reacting off of this here. So yes, you could be looking for a 1-hour shift in momentum to the short side in this area of supply. I think that that's a decent possibility for a trade. But if you do, I would recommend taking profits somewhat early if you are getting in short. And why? Well, to be very clear, and I'm trying to do more tips in these forecasts too. So this is why I would look to take profits early. Yes, we are in daily supply, but weekly demand is in control, and weekly demand is way stronger than daily supply zones as price pushes up. So I'd be very careful getting involved short there. So either that's a possibility for a short position, but you should be cautious, or if we break this daily area of supply with a daily demand here, that will be a nice daily area of demand to possibly look to get in a long position on gold. So I'm not really seeing any setups right now. And if you do want to get in short on gold, I would at least wait for this 4-hour area of demand to be removed first. and then look to hop on short. But like I said, I don't even really recommend trading gold to the short side right now since price is looking so strong on gold. All right, on to USDJPY. And if you look in last week's forecast, I talked about how we have a very nice 1 hour area of demand right here. I recommend you possibly look for confirmation, and it was even valid as a set and forget trade. Look at how beautiful this trade worked out. Almost no drawdown. You were in the red for maybe a couple minutes, and price just absolutely pushed up. So if you listened to last week's forecast and you got involved in that trade, just let me know in the comments down below, or let me know if you missed the trade or something like that. But look at the no drawdown at all in that. And why did this zone work so well? Well, it's because of the trend, in my opinion. That is why the zone worked so well. Yes, it was a decent little 1 hour zone, but it really worked out well because of the trend that we are in on USD JPY. So looking at the cut reports here for the USD yen, the past week the banks added 3,300 longs and they got rid of 4,600 short positions. If you do want to get in long on USD yen, I do recommend taking profits at about 127.5. To the short side, which I don't really recommend right now, would be 125.0. So as far as setups go on USD Japanese yen, let's take a look here. So if we come to a 1 hour chart, I'm not really seeing much, but one thing that pops into my mind right away is this 4 hour area of demand here. Now, this is technically a valid demand zone as a set and forget where you just place a buy order, stop loss here, and a take profit up here. That's technically valid there. But what I would actually prefer in this situation is to look for 5-minute confirmation if you're unsure if the zone is going to work or not. So that's the next setup here on USD Japanese yen. So if you go to your 4 hour chart, take a look at this zone, mark it out, set an alert right here. And when price gets down to here, I think it's definitely a decent little dip buying opportunity on USD Japanese yen. All right, on to GBPUSD. The past week, the institutions got rid of 359 long positions and they added 10,937 short positions. Looking at a daily chart here, we broke this low this past week, so it's looking very weak on the British pound right now. If you do want to get in long, I would target 1.32. To the short side, I would target either right before this daily area of demand or a little lower at about 1.29. So let's look at some possible setups here on the British pound. Well, if you look at the 4 hour chart, we've clearly lost momentum. We had a decent little trend line down here like this, and it was actually broken by this area of demand right here. So if you do want to look for longs, which I do not recommend trading against that weekly trend and that daily downtrend, you could look for a 15-minute confirmation coming off of this zone, but I would look to take profits at 1-to-1, if that, just based on that downward pressure. I think that this up move we've had is just a little bit of excitement, and we're actually going to be breaking this area of demand, leaving a possible supply zone here to look to get in short. So as far as shorting opportunities go, the only thing I see right now is this 1 hour area of supply right here. So if you look on the chart right now, you can see this 1 hour area of supply. You could look for 5-minute confirmation coming off of the zone. I'm not a fan of a zone like this. There's just too many candles in here, and it's at a high where retail traders are going to be looking at that as support and resistance, and their stop losses could be above. So we could actually see a move up above it and then spike down. So I'd be very careful, but that's all I really see right now on the British pound for shorting opportunities. There will definitely be more during the week, in my opinion. If we continue to see a price move down, we'll have a 1 hour area of supply around here. We can look to trade that, and those ones will be available for YouTube and Patreon members throughout the week. So if you do want to get these zones that are possibly forming that aren't formed yet, definitely check that out. Like I mentioned earlier, just gonna have to be a little bit patient here on the pound, but overall that weekly and daily trend is very, very strong to the downside. So I would not be trading against that, and I think looking for shorts is still the correct move on the GBP USD. USDCAD forecast. The past week, the institutions got rid of 4,800 long positions and they added 399 short positions. If you do want to get in long, I would target about 1.27. Short, I would target about 1.25 or 1.247, something like that. So we are clearly just in the middle right here of supply and demand. If you look overall, we're just kind of going sideways here in the daily chart. So no trading decisions should really be based off of this daily chart. So let's look for a possible setup here on USDCAD. Well, if you look at a 4 hour chart, it's kind of all over the map here. We have a supply zone here. You could look for 15-minute confirmation coming off of here if you do think the US dollar is going to get weaker. I personally don't. So what I'm kind of waiting for is for price to break this supply zone, which I do think will happen, leaving us with demand down below where we could look to get involved to the long side in that demand. So, to be honest with you guys, with my YouTube channel, I'm always extremely honest with you guys. I'm never going to say there's a setup when there's not, just to get clicks and views and praise and all that stuff. I personally just don't see anything right now. We've kind of already actually reacted off of this supply zone right here. So since the US dollar is looking strong, based on my DXY analysis, I'm kind of waiting for that to happen and waiting for new demand to be formed to possibly create that uptrend and new demand, and that will actually create a very nice 4-hour uptrend. So being very patient here on USDCAD because I'm just not seeing too much at all. And when that's the case, I do not like to trade. I'd rather just sit on the sidelines and pick a better spot. All right, Aussie US dollar forecast. The past week, the banks added 4,900 longs and they got rid of about 3,900 short positions. If you look at a daily chart here, absolutely beautiful daily uptrend. We're sitting inside this daily area of demand right now, but it's looking pretty weak. It does not look like this daily demand wants to hold and work up. If you do want to get in long, I would target about 0.75. Short, I would target just about 0.73. Now, this daily demand is looking pretty weak, and I think I know why. Well, I do think price could possibly pull back to this weekly area of demand right here that we are looking at. And I know this demand is absolutely horrendous looking, but it is demand nonetheless. So we could actually see it pull back into here and then rally. So overall, I still think it's best to be looking for longs based on this chart, even though I do also think the US dollar is going to get stronger. It's kind of a weird situation. So let's look for some setups here on the lower time frames. And I'm not seeing much at all. There was a 1-hour area of supply that you could have got involved in there. But other than that, I'm just not seeing too much at all. If you guys want to mark out this trend line like this and look for that 1-hour confirmation, well, what you could be doing inside that daily area of demand is if we get a move up like this, demand zone here, that would be a nice little 1-hour confirmation coming off of that overall daily area of demand down here. That's really all I'm seeing right now on the Aussie US dollar. I can't really recommend anything else because I just simply do not see any other setups here. And I don't really recommend shorting right now since we are sitting inside that daily area of demand and momentum has just been broken on the weekly chart. So kind of just waiting patiently, going to wait for that 1-hour shift of momentum to the long side and see what happens from there. USDCHF forecast. The past week, the institutions added 1,300 longs and they got rid of 218 short positions. Price is looking pretty bullish here, in my opinion. If you do want to get in long, I would target 0.95. Short, I would target right before this daily area of demand at about 0.936, I believe that is. So if price does pull back to this daily area of demand, I highly recommend, I don't really recommend, nothing is financial recommendations here, but I'm probably going to be looking for a 1-hour shift of momentum to the long side inside this daily area of demand if we get a pullback into that area. And really quick, if you guys like this video and my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, would be much appreciated. So looking at a 4-hour chart, we have a beautiful 4-hour uptrend. This is absolutely beautiful. Price is looking very bullish. So you could be on the lower time frames looking for setups on a 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart. Let's go down to those time frames and see if I see anything yet. And I actually do not see anything. So what I would be doing here on a 15-minute chart is if we get a break of this high like this, the zone below, I think that zone is looking decent for a possible set and forget trading opportunity. Another thing here, if you look at a 1-hour chart, I'm seeing a potential setup forming. Well, if price breaks this 1-hour area of supply and leaves us with demand, that will be a very nice 1-hour area of demand. We could look for 5-minute confirmation coming off of that demand if that happens. I know it's kind of weird too when I'm looking at a chart in the forecast for you guys and I'm not seeing any demand zones to be trading from. But that is why I created the YouTube and Patreon membership, so that I can tell you guys, what I'm waiting for throughout the week, and then those zones will actually be on my chart. So I'm sorry to keep plugging it. I'm just kind of making the point where, yes, my forecast might not be, I'm sure other guys' forecasts are, oh, there's a setup here, setup here. Well, I'm just telling you what I'm waiting for, and then those zones actually appear on my chart as they happen. But anyways, USD Swiss looking decent. Just got to be patient and wait for some of these supply zones to be broken. But price is looking very bullish. I actually hope that price continues to fall down and pull back to that daily area of demand where I said I would be looking for a possible long opportunity in USD CHF. All right, last but not least, crude oil. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,000 long positions on crude oil and they added about 2,600 short positions. If you look at a daily chart here, we reacted off this daily area of demand. Again, we already reacted off of it once, so daily demand is in control. If you do want to get in long, I would simply just target 120. Short, I would target right before this dairy area. Oh my God, I would target right before this area of daily demand at about 98.5. So to me, it looks like kind of just a buy high, or sorry, buy low, sell high opportunity here on oil. Not really a fan of doing that, so we're gonna have to hop down to a lower time frame and see if we see any setups. So since daily area of demand is in control, I think looking for 1 hour areas of demand to get in long is a decent opportunity. We had one down here. One here, never got the pullback. We had a decent one here, would have been stopped on this one, but we're left with this one here on the 1 hour chart. So that's a decent little 1 hour zone. But since price is pretty far from that daily area of demand down here, I do not recommend taking this as a set and forget trade. So if price does come down to this 1 hour area of demand, I highly recommend looking for a 5 minute confirmation trade coming off of that 1 hour area of demand. But other than that, I'm just, I'm not really seeing too many opportunities. If we do get a deeper pullback to the downside, so if you see something like this, we see all those 1 hour areas of demand forming, bringing us to this 4 hour area of demand. I think that that's a great area to look for a 15-minute confirmation trade and to possibly get in long to hold oil for the long term, looking at $120, $130 a barrel. So that's the key zone in my opinion right here, this 4 hour zone, but we might not even get that pullback. Looking at this 4 hour chart, if we break this supply, leaving us with demand, that will also be a good opportunity to possibly get in long. But overall, oil is looking very bullish and we're coming off of weekly demand. So I think trading long oil to about $120 a barrel, I think is completely fine. And I actually do not recommend trading oil short until we start to see lower time frame areas of demand being broken. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.